Previously on Cork Out History.
On our last episode, we talked about our little Game of Thrones in the north of the peninsula, as well as the Mozarabi and Muslim presence further south. We also dived into one of the favorite rabbit holes for Inês, the Juicy King's rabbit hole. We then talked a bit about the badass Urraca, and we came to the first record of the title of King of Portugal. And now, let's see where today gets us to. Welcome to another episode of Cork Out History. Yeah, okay, so with the dead Garcia, we actually need to get back to Afonso, because...
Yeah, there's only one out of the three left.
Yeah, and this one is going to marry Constance of Burgundy in 1079. And she's going to bring a huge Transalpine influence when she comes, and that's going to play a huge role as well on like defining the politics and how things are going to be played in these kingdoms from now on.
Yeah, so basically Constance, when we mean Transalpine there, she comes from the Kingdom of Burgundy, so that's, in today's terms, that's France. So she's bringing a lot of influence from France, a lot of people from France, a lot of knights, a lot of religious people, everyone she's bringing with her to the peninsula. And that's going to be really, really, really important for us and for the Kingdom of Portugal. Also, we are saying that Afonso marries Constance. He married like 5 times, this guy, okay? But Constance is the one that's going to be... It's at least one of the two of the ones who are going to be more important for us, and we don't have to go over all the ladies that he was boning. Just a few. So she has, we were saying, she brings a lot of French influence into the peninsula, and is translating to a lot of French knights and a lot of ecclesiastic influence, so especially with the Order of Cluny.
The monastic order founded in the 10th century, and as a fairly young order at the time, the establishment of networks of power was fundamental to them. The peninsula and its unfolding geopolitical formations were a really fertile ground on which to grow. So, stemming from the Abbey of Cluny in Burgundy, where some of our characters are from, it has in Constance a powerful ally in the beginning of the 11th century, and it will further play a role in the foundational steps of Portugal as well. One thing that I think we need to mention is that at this point the Iberian Peninsula is starting to be looked as the right stage for the second sons of the nobility to prove themselves. So all these people are coming to fight against the Moors and the infidels on these wars that are starting to happen in the peninsula. Of course, that means a source of income for these second sons, and those are some of the major players that we're going to be seeing in this few next years, well, centuries in the peninsula actually. But that's why we have to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, definitely, because it's like we had this whole land that was under the occupation of the Moors, who basically is there for the taking. And if we're taking it from them, I'm making what you call it, inverted commas with my... So if you're taking it from someone, then you have a lot of land to give away and distribute by the people who took it. So this is extremely appealing for people who don't have much already. So basically, like Andre was saying, all the second sons and third sons, because it wasn't very nice, everything would go to the first one. Although people died a lot, so maybe, things changed. You were the first, you were the second or the third, you could suddenly be the one, but you could also be dead. So those people wouldn't have much, and usually either they turned to the church or they would go and look for new lands. And the peninsula was quite close, and it was there for the taking. Also, with this this idea of the Crusades, it's going to end the Reconquest. So it started with Ferdinand I or Fernando I, and now with this influence of France, again, modern France, in this, with the Order of Cluny, it's going to become like really big into the Crusade spirit. So this whole idea of this being a holy war and of taking the lands from the infidels, like Andre mentioned before. So until now, there was a little bit of that, but not so much of that. But now it's really going to be focused on that. I think we're going to mention it somewhere later on, but actually soon, one of the things that I found most interesting is that at some point the Pope is going to give equal value to the people crusading in the Peninsula as the people crusading in Jerusalem. So, you know, if you in terms of, like, I don't know, the spiritual bonus that it would get you and stuff like that, it was equally has value. The Pope declared that it was equally has value to go to the Peninsula, which was a lot easier because it's a lot closer, guys. A lot closer to a lot of people in France. It was a lot more convenient to go there, get the same salvation, and get lands, and not go, you know, all the way across Europe and into the Holy Land. So, yeah, this is going to be a really, really crucial point in the foundation of Portugal, which we are nearing.
We're almost there.
Slowly, but we are getting there.
Right, so throughout this, Afonso maintained good relations with the Moorish populations.
Actually, for instance, when he conquered Toledo, which was one of the most important cities of the area, which is still amazing. Like, if you go to visit Toledo today, Toledo is in modern Spain.
Touristic drums.
And it's an amazing city with a lot of Arabic influences. When he conquered the city, he promised to keep up the religious freedom. And this was all very lovely and well. And then he gets out of the city, and on the first chance that this new bishop gets, the king is out of the city, and boom, all the religious freedom goes through the window. But anyway, Afonso is still seen as a good king who keeps the religious freedom for the most part, especially a king with a lot of diplomatic things going on with the Moorish kingdoms.
One thing also to consider when thinking about these times is there's not only a movement of conquest coming from the north to the south, from the Christians onto the Moorish populations, but the Moorish populations are also facing something different, which is the Almoravid invasions.
I would also like to say, we have been referring to this as the Moorish occupation, which is not wrong, but it's a little bit tricky to refer to this time and to this period, because we sometimes use the terms like Moorish, Arabic, somewhat interchangeably, which can ring some alarm bells these days, like, oh, you're not being accurate. So the best way to refer to this period and to this land would be by the name Al-Andalus. This is how the Moorish and the Moor people and the Arabic people living in the region referred to the peninsula at this time. So the kingdom, not the kingdom because there were several kingdoms, but the area was called Al-Andalus, just in the same way that there were many different Christian kings and rulers and leaders and everything. There were many different rulers on the side of the Moors. There were Moors, like we keep referring to them, but there were also Berbers, or later on Almoravides, like we are about to talk about, and Arabs. So when you look at it from the Christian perspective, they were all the other. But these were not the same people at all, and they were coming from different parts.
Yeah, it's definitely not an homogenic group of people. It's very diverse.
Yeah. One thing that they had in common was the religion. So they were all Muslim, but they are all coming from different regions. Yes, and now the Almoravid invasions. From 1086 to 1109, shit hits the fan with the Almoravid invasions. These come in waves, but the effects are disastrous, these invasions are extremely aggressive, and they plunge the peninsula into an absolute chaos. The invading Almoravides want to overthrow the Taifa kingdoms. They don't think, basically, that they are seriously enough, having, like, all these different little kings and making alliances with the Christians, and no, they're having none of that. So, basically, they want to rule over all of them, and they want to rule over everything.
So, of course, that this once again plays to the power balances in the peninsula and changes them and shifts how things work between all these different powers. So this results in many Taifas allying themselves with the Christian king to try to prevent falling into the Almoravid hands.
Yeah, so the borders had always fluctuated back and forth between Christians and Muslim territories until now, but now they start receding fast as the Almoravids take the place by storm. So basically, we had go back and forth, mostly with the Christians gaining terrain, but now they're losing it fast. It is in this scenario that Afonso, in hopes of enhancing his image as the champion of the Muslims of the peninsula against the Almoravids, so he wants to come to me, I am going to protect you, all the Taifas who are here against these bad, aggressive Almoravids coming in. And in hopes to do this and to come forward as a more inclusive king, he starts a relationship with Zaida. Zaida is the daughter-in-law of the ruler of the Taifa of Seville, so one of the most important taifas in the kingdom. She's the daughter-in-law of this ruler, and he starts a relationship with her in hopes of coming across as a very inclusive and open king.
Is that what you think? Is it in hopes of coming across as an inclusive king, or was it a true love story?
Am I being too cynic? Perhaps I am being too cynic. Perhaps this is the most
romantic, the forbidden romance,
most beautiful love story.
Yes.
We have a love story here across across lovers, across religion, and here I am coming off all cynic. And well, let's not forget that this guy was killing his own brother, banging his sister.
Yeah. No one can blame you.
I'm just being mean. Don't. Please don't state this in any of your papers, guys. He wasn't banging his sister, and he did not kill his brother.
Well.
Did he? Anyway.
Well. Yeah.
He certainly did bang Zaida or Zaida.
He did.
Yeah. Andre is gonna tell us about her. We're in for another rabbit hole. I should have said that.
Rabbit hole.
And this one, guys, you are not seeing this coming. No, they're not. No, whatever you're thinking, it's different. Go on.
Yeah, so who is this Zaida? There has been quite a few things written about her, but there's a lot that we don't know. What we do know is that, she had a relationship with Afonso, and from that relationship will come...
She was on the run, and she came to the king, and the king protected her. So who is this woman?
Zaida was a Moorish princess that was related to the Emir of Cordoba, and...
Was married. Wasn't she married to him, though? I have that she was married to the ruler of Cordoba, and she was daughter-in-law of the ruler of Seville. Sure.
Right. So, Zaida was actually she was a Moor princess that was somehow related to the Emir of Cordoba. Some people say she was married to him. Some other sources say that she was just related. It's very unclear what was the relationship there.
Okay, so when I said that she was daughter-in-law of the Taifa of Sevilla, maybe that's not the case.
Yeah, but that's one of the theories that's around. Apparently she could have been daughter-in-law and that her husband died. And it's after the death of her husband that she runs away and takes refuge in Afonso's kingdom. However, some sources say that the relationship between the two started before that. All in all, we really don't know, and it's not me and you who's gonna find any clarity on that right
Oh,
now.
definitely not.
So
Definitely
we can
not.
just move on, and she becomes the lover of Afonso, and later she actually becomes queen.
How could he resist it? This is a damsel in distress 101. Everything is very problematic. Was she seeking protection? Was she kidnapped? What is this kind of relationship? We definitely know that there was a sexual relationship going on with Afonso, but was this a consensual relationship? Is it a sign of coexistence between the two, or is it just like a confident statement of power? So Afonso VI, he's the man, he's the one with all the power. He's also a king! And he's the king who's offering her protection! And she has her kids with him! So, is this consensual? Is this not? We don't know. Is she a lover? Is she going to become his queen? That's one of the theories. Is she his concubine? We're not sure. Probably a lot of... I don't want to say blurred lines. I hate that expression. I think it can be very, very problematic. But the truth here is that simply we don't know. This was all happening like in the 11th century, guys. We can choose to look at it one way or the other, but we have to bear these things in mind. Especially as we look at some of our sources with fresh eyes. And then one of the reasons as well that I had in mind when I decided that we were going to do a podcast, for instance, was to look at things sometimes from a different angle and question a little bit the narrative proposed.
Yeah, and there's also the problem of the sources. There's very little sources that are contemporary to this. Mostly they were written after. And of course, when we're talking about sources in this period, it's a male voice that we're listening. And
intensely politicized. Everything has like religion and holy wars included in this. A lot of it sometimes comes like 400 years after the fact, and we take them like at face value because we have nothing else to go on about. So sources are an issue.
We're like, this happened in the 11th century, but this chronicle from the 14th century tells us all about it, and we take it.
Exactly. It's the equivalent of us not having any records from like the 17th century, and suddenly you have a report written now.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly,
you take
exactly.
it at face value because you have nothing else.
Exactly.
And maybe they copied it from somewhere, although you don't know.
Yeah, you really don't know. So we do know that they had a relationship, and that's as far as factual as we can go. And there was offspring of this relationship. Very important for Portugal's history.
To our story.
Again. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Guys, I know that sometimes we do get lost and it might not sound as if we're making sense, but this is all leading up to something.
There is, a faint plot line along the script.
We
yes.
tried.
We're getting somewhere very slowly, but we are indeed. Exactly, and we are covering like a long period of time, so things are not like, unless you make them so, and if you make them like all neat and tidy, you're gonna lose things in there. You're probably lying, and you are definitely losing a lot in there. Which we still are, because we glossed over a lot of things that are extremely interesting, but we hope we can keep this going.
Things get interesting as we start to analyze a few other chronicles. One of them says that Zaida is actually converted to and become a Catholic and adopted the name of Isabel. If we believe this, then this would actually mean that Zaida has been one of the queens of Afonso.
Although it is a theory, guys. We're not. Don't go and tell in your papers that this was a thing. We are not sure. We're not saying that.
I love how you're assuming that
people are gonna quote us.
Yeah, on our first episodes here. Yeah, but right.
No, but if one person, if out of the 3 people, well, I'm hoping my parents will listen to my episode.
Okay. We have
my
3
parents
4
are not
people
gonna mention it though in
their papers now.
No. Anyway,
this is not set on stone, but do bear with us and we'll try to explain how this theory might be true. So we know that there was a relationship between Afonso and this Moor person. We know that there was a son, Moor princess. Sorry, not person.
Moor person. So this Moor person and the king.
So
had
we
a
know that
relationship?
the Afonso and this Moorish princess had a relationship. We also know that Zaida is actually the woman who gave him his son. This son, who was his only son, although
His
he
only
was
male heir. No, not there
And this-
yet. His
and
only
this-
male son. Yeah, male
Yeah.
son. Well, obviously, his only male son.
and this son that Afonso and Zaida had was the only male son for Afonso.
Oh, guys, it's been
right.
too many glasses of wine at this point.
Right, so Afonso had a son.
He only had one. So after like 4 marriages, this guy only had one fucking son. And although it wasn't crucial, these people did like to have one male guy to whom to leave the kingdom to.
Yeah,
even though
it's
he
very
already
important that you actually mentioned that it wasn't crucial, but still it was important, and that's why this illegitimate son will later become his legitimate heir. And that's important for what comes next and the relationship between Afonso and Zaida, because
despite having, daughters, legitimate daughters, he does want to get this son legitimized. So he turns this
son into his main
natural
heir,
son
his
into
heir.
his legitimate heir. So he can basically inherit the whole kingdom.
On the list of things that we do know about Zaida are that she had this son that we've talked about, and that she was christened and changed her name to Isabel. Now things get interesting because Afonso's wife dies, and after 3 months only, he marries someone called Isabel. And from that moment on, Sancho, the son that he had with Zaida, becomes, in the documents, mentioned as the legitimate heir of Afonso.
The theory being put forward is that perhaps this Zaida, who becomes Isabel, and the queen who he marries, he has, I think, 2 other daughters with, are one and the same person. For me, I think it does make sense in the sense that his son becomes legitimized on the way. And so he kind of, okay, she's now a Christian and she's now named Isabel and I'm gonna actually marry her. And this child, made out of wedlock, is now suddenly my heir to the whole kingdom because he has a penis. Clap! That's great.
I'm gonna take that away from Inez now and the penis and just say that there are a few other things that make us believe in that. And like the few historians that believe that Isabel and Zaida are the same person, they also say that it would never be possible for another woman's son to become legitimized as the ruling heir, and that unless that woman would become a queen. And it's not too much of a coincidence in terms of chronology how it happens.
Yeah, I mean, if the new queen who he had just married, this supposed Isabel, would not have been the same person as Zaida, then she probably would not have allowed the protagonism of Sancho in detriment of her possible future sons. So they just got married, and there he goes and he turns this bastard into the legitimate heir. I mean, if he just got married, you can possibly still have male heirs, which would then inherit the kingdom. So it's not like they took women's opinions too much into consideration back then, but there was still that possibility in the future. So she probably wouldn't have been for it. Also, I have found reference to some documents where it's only one document, for sure, but where there is reference to Afonso VI and Queen Isabel, and Sancho is mentioned as our son. So it is only one document, but just because it's only one doesn't mean Well, it means what it means. It's just one document, but it is one document. So yeah, and he's mentioned as our son.
Yeah. There's just one other document that I would like to mention here. The Chronicle of the Bishop of Oviedo, which is a city in Spain, for those of you who might not be aware of that. There's a chronicle that's written 100 years later, and on that chronicle, the bishop actually goes through the women of Afonso, and when he talks about Isabel, he actually says that she's the daughter of Louis of France. Problem is, there's no such thing as Louis of France in Isabel's, Zaida's, Afonso's time. So this whole effort of trying to make up a story might just mean that
where she's not Moorish, but she's, the daughter of the king of France, except there's no king of France named Louis. But hey, what did they know, right? I mean, yeah.
Now that we're coming to a close, I just thought it would actually be important to mention that Constance of Burgundy, with whom this episode started, had already died by now, and she was just the second wife of Afonso VI of Castile. And Zaida, if she did turn into Isabel, she comes into the picture as the fourth one on an ever-growing list of marriages. So, too many things, too many coincidences, and too many, especially when we're looking at the dates and stuff, it's like, yeah, it gets hard to say that it would be someone else, and yeah.
Don't quote us on that. I keep thinking that someone is going to quote us on
You
something.
You do.
Isn't
That's
it amazing?
special.
I know. Don't quote us on that. I don't want your back grades on me.
Now, why does this all matters apart from being a cute story that we wanted to include? It matters because it's because of Afonso that two other guys are gonna make a treaty. But we'll get to those other guys in a minute.
We'll get to those other guys in a minute, and they are big. But before, we have something even better for you.
Yeah, we do. So, the story with Zaida doesn't end here, and it actually comes very close to home for our British listeners. Because...
Well, assuming we have any.
Well, we do. Of course we do. What are you saying?
Of course we do, yeah.
But, yeah, so, right.
My
Zaida
boyfriend better listen to it.
So, in 1986, Zaida resurfaces again, and there's another theory concerning Zaida that comes very close to home for our British...
In 1986?
In 1986, yes. Zaida shows up again by the hands of Brooks Baker. Brooks Baker is a genealogist. He links Zaida to Queen Elizabeth II.
No one else but Lilibeth II!
Yes, gasp. And
the shock. What?
Yes. So not only links Zaida to Elizabeth, but he also links the two of them to Muhammad.
Yeah.
Yes.
The prophet. Like, that's the prophet we're talking about.
Yeah. So he links Elizabeth, Zaida, and Muhammad, the prophet.
Yeah. So what he's saying is that our lovely Queen Elizabeth II might be related to the Prophet Muhammad.
No, he goes further. He says that she's in direct line of descendancy from Muhammad. The line would actually go from a direct descendant of Muhammad to Zaida, and then to Elizabeth, and would get in the mix through Sancha and Edward IV. I'm not really sure how this happened.
Yeah,
but
you can Google it, guys.
Yeah, just Google it.
Yeah, we're not just gonna go through a row of names on how this all happened.
My biggest disclaimer is saying that even the History Channel thinks it's clickbait, so...
Yeah, so when History Channel thinks it's clickbait, I mean...
Yeah, we're lost.
I mean, yeah, stop your horses. But it is a fun theory, is it not?
It is. It definitely is.
Our lovely queen has...
a direct line, yeah.
Of Prophet Muhammad. I mean,
going
if that's
through
not...
the likes of Zaida in the middle, which... Jesus.
In the fucking peninsula, okay?
Did you see that coming? You did not.
I mean, you did
not.
I did not. I surely did not.
Yeah.
Actually, I have to say, when we were discussing where to start our first episode, season, whatever, I remember us reading about this and then being like, well, that's it then.
That's it?
It's going to be the foundation
Yeah.
of Portugal.
True.
And how good old Lizzie is related to the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, but through the peninsula, yeah. Great.
Through
stuff.
us, okay?
Through
Don't take
us.
the protagonism away. I think we come to the end of our second rabbit hole.
But do bear in mind that this will have its importance in what's to come.
Yeah. It's not like we went on a complete tangent. We did. But this is all going to be closely related to the future of the independence of Portugal. Sorta. Kinda. We did go a bit on a limb there.
And this is where we'll stop for now. Stick with us and join us in the next episode of Cork Out History in 2 weeks.
Until then, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Cork Out History Pod, and on Twitter at Cork Out History, where you can reach out to us, let us know your thoughts, and discover more about the upcoming episodes.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe wherever you're listening to us.
Your comments are crucial so that more people can find us.
Bye! Bye.